everyone. Good morning, or good evening, or good afternoon. Probably good morning for most of us. Thank you for being here. Welcome back. Maybe just give me some sign if you're listening, if you're hearing me, if you see me, if everything's okay. And if everything's okay, well, big welcome to you all, especially if you were here for the first time. All good, all good. Okay, thanks, Hilary, Victoria, all good. Good. So, if you're here for the first time, a special and warm welcome. Another week, rainy week here in Portugal by the seaside. Well, it's summer for you. So, this week we are welcoming back Jaya Rudgard. She hasn't been teaching with us for a while. She's one of our regular teachers. So, thank you for being here with us. Jaya, welcome to you. Good morning. Jaya is an insight meditation and mindfulness teacher based in Oxford, England. She leads retreats and courses in the UK and internationally, and teaches regularly at Gaia House in Devon and Insight Meditation Society in Barre, Massachusetts. She spent 8 years as a Buddhist nun in the Thai forest tradition. Her teachers include Ajahn Sumedho, Joseph Goldstein, Jack Cornfield, Kittisaro, and Thanisara. Jaya also teaches Qigong and delights in bringing the practices of Qigong and insight meditation together. You can find out more about her at mindful.com and jayarudgard.co.uk, and I will leave you the links on the chat afterwards. And this week, Jaya will be exploring meditations on the 5 great elements of nature. So I think we have a very good week ahead waiting for us. So, quickie, because I'm a bit ahead of my time. Just to remind you, and of course, if some of you are new here, just let you know how this works. We'll be here for roughly an hour. Jaya will have a brief small talk about on the theme, and then a guided practice. A longer guided practice, and then we'll have some time for the Q&A. If you have questions you want to ask Jaya, you can have some time at the end to do that. And of course, the way to ask questions, we have the chat running where you're all welcoming each other. If you do use the chat to ask your question, please type question in capital letters, so we know that it's a question instead of just a comment, and it's easier to engage. You can also come on screen. There's a small little hand on the bottom of the screen. If you click on that, I will get a message and bring you on. You could just show up on the left side of the screen, and then you can interact with Jaya directly. And that will be the way to go. The last thing I want to speak about is, of course, dana, the practice of generosity, and the solely way we can support this wonderful practice that we do together every week for quite a long time. These morning sessions have been running over 3 years now, since the first COVID, and I think we all find great nourishment and support in this. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here at this time of the morning, 100 of us, just to practice. So thank you for your commitment, for your regularity, for your practice, for your support. Just the fact that you are here is a huge support. But of course, as Martin Ablett says, he's the founding teacher of this platform. We all do this with a big open heart. It's really heartfelt, and it's freely offered. But it's not free of cost. Unfortunately, there's a lot of costs to run this platform, and we can see this now that I'm more on the inside. I can really have a good sense of how it works, and this is the world we have. So we don't want to have any other kind of of supporting ways to keep on this platform apart from your capacity, your way to generously donate. So whatever you can donate, whenever you can donate, I will leave you the link for that. Please do it. And if you can't do it, please stay with us and enjoy the sessions, because that's what we're here for. Okay, so thank you for your time. Thank you for your practice. Have you a nice session and a good week. Thank you, Jaya.
Thank you very much, Jorge, and good morning, everybody. It's very nice to be sharing morning practice with you this week, whether you're an old friend from Sangha Live, whether you're newly joined. It's always a pleasure to have the incentive to be part of these Sangha Live meditations, which I sometimes tap into when other people are leading them also. But it's always a privilege to come and share some time with you all. So as Jorge said, I'm here in Oxford, raining here too. And it's wonderful to know that you're out there in your different locations and that we're all doing the same thing at the same time. And it feels really helpful to me to, whenever I sit, when I'm sitting alone, to reflect on the fact that probably somewhere in the world, somebody I know, given the number of people that I've connected with through Dharma practice, is also meditating at the same time. But for us to come together for an hour in this way is very special. So I chose as the theme for this week to offer some meditations on the 5 elements. And my inspiration, as usual, comes from the Pali Canon, the early Buddhist teachings, which is what I'm most familiar with. And these 5 elements are spoken of in different ways. So for those of you unfamiliar with them, the 5 elements in early Buddhism are earth, water, fire, wind, and space. Say wind or air. And conveniently, there are 5, so that works very nicely for 5 mornings of practice. And today I'll begin with the earth element. And my intention for how to do this is to offer a short reflection and then a guided meditation, and to try to guide the meditation in such a way that you get enough pointers, but that I'm not talking all the time, so that you have some time for your own quiet with it. And one of the things I like about the elements and about the Buddha's meditation instructions generally is that they're fairly broad brush, and there's not a lot of specific detail given about technique. So that leaves us free, I think, to be a little bit creative. It invites us to be a little bit creative within the spirit of the overall teachings, of course. And so you can riff off the suggestions that I make. And what I do is, it draws from other teachers, but it's also, my own feeling my way into this. So one of the places where practice with the elements is most famously talked about is as a support for practicing mindfulness of the body. It's one of the places where we're actually invited to bring these elements to mind and to establish mindfulness of the body through reflecting on, contemplating, feeling our way into the body in terms of each of the 4 material elements, which are earth, water, fire, and wind. And we need to shelve the space element for now. We'll bother about that on Friday, but that's not traditionally included in the body contemplations because it's an immaterial element as opposed to a material element. And these 4 elements, they stand less for chemical substances in our modern way of thinking than for physical properties, so properties of energy or textures of things. So earth stands for everything that is solid and firm and hard and earthy. So in the context of the body, that's things like bones and hair and teeth and nails and skin traditionally. But anything that is kind of has solidity to it in terms of the body. And so let's just stay, I don't want to take too long on this intro, but let's just stay with the body contemplation for now. Why would we bother to contemplate the body in terms of, say, the earth element? One of the main reasons is to point out to us, for us to understand and realize that the body is not personal in the sense that this body is made up of the same constituents of nature as the world around us. So that lessens some of our sense of identification and self-importance around this body, and also gives us a way of lessening our sense of separation or isolation. So we really feel our connection with the elements around us, with the natural world around us. We recognize our non-separateness from the natural world, instead of this modern thing if we have us in here and nature somewhere out there, recognizing that we are a part of nature and that we are governed by the laws of nature, and that this is a given. So in many ways, delusion expects us to have control of this body in ways that we don't. And part of our maturing as human beings is learning to surrender to the ways in which this body is simply a gift that is out of our control. So contemplating the body in terms of the earth element. And then the second way of contemplating or using the elements is where the Buddha offers a very famous instruction to his young son, Rahula, saying that one can cultivate a meditation that is like each of these 5 great elements. So cultivating a meditation that is like the earth. What does that mean? I think it means to let the mind, the meditating mind, start to reflect some of the qualities of the earth, its vastness and its spaciousness. And the Buddha particularly says that each of these elements, so the earth, let's take the earth today, people put all sorts of things on the earth. Clean things, pleasant things, dirty things, unclean things. But the earth doesn't have a hissy fit about it. It doesn't take it personally. The language in the sutta says the earth is not horrified, humiliated, or disgusted. So the earth doesn't have a personal reaction, doesn't become reactive when it comes into contact with unpleasant experience in a way that the untrained human mind does. So we take the earth as an inspiration for equanimity, for steadiness, for a spaciousness of heart-mind. And so this is the second way that we can contemplate elements. So one as a contemplation about the body, another as a contemplation for the mind. And then the third piece that I want to invite into our contemplations is how we can bring some of the qualities of each element that we contemplate into a sense of qualities of character or qualities of the mind. And that draws more inspiration from my Qigong and the way that elements are used in the Taoist system, or thought of, that actually the elements also reflect kind of qualities of heart or qualities of character. So what do we actually, could think about in what ways could we offer earthiness to the world? What qualities of heart mind might we associate with this element? And I think of things like stability, reliability. If some of you came to the session yesterday evening, I think there was a session on vows, on kind of making a determination and holding to it. We talk about people being solid. That's a really solid person, or a down-to-earth person. And those are compliments. We recognize the value and the usefulness of these qualities. So we can also see how contemplating this particular element might support our cultivating certain skillful qualities of heart and mind. So I'll guide us in a meditation and leave some time for your reflections, questions, and comments at the end of the session. So inviting you to make yourself comfortable, whatever is your chosen posture for your practice for the next half hour or so. And you can rest your gaze or allow your eyes to close. And taking a moment to locate yourself in space, so acknowledging the sounds and perhaps the movement around us in our environment. And then sensing where your body is resting on the earth, the shape of your posture. And the parts of your body that are in contact with the ground, your footprint, if you like. And the earth's energy of gravity drawing you downwards. Just check that you're lined up in a way with gravity. So if you're in an upright position, that you're balanced. So that you come into a comfortable relationship with gravity. Maybe take a deep breath or two, and as you exhale, just surrender your weight a little more into that footprint underneath you. You could also mentally perhaps put down anything that you're carrying with you this morning. You could put that down, metaphorically speaking, on the ground beside you. We can come pick it up again at the end of the session, but for now, nothing to do but be here. As you bring your attention to that contact with the ground underneath you, noticing its texture of firmness, the different areas of pressure through your seat, be your legs or your feet, or if you're meditating lying down, through the different areas of your body where you're in contact. And then letting your attention rise up through the body in a wave, up to the crown of your head. And as you fill the whole body with attention, just noticing if there's anywhere where you're holding tightness that might soften a little as you become aware of it. Until you arrive at the top of your head. May or may not feel any sensation there, but just putting our attention in this area. And then slowly weaving your way down from the crown of your head, becoming aware of all the different ways, all the different ways that the earth element, this aspect of solidity, is present in this breathing body. The hair of the head, if we have it. The hard bones of the skull. And the cartilage of the ears. the jawbone, teeth, the neck and the shoulders, shoulder blades, collarbones. The bones of the arms, the upper arms and the lower arms, and of the hands. The vertebrae from right up inside the base of the skull, down through the trunk of the body to the tip of one's tail. The pelvic girdle and the legs. All the way down to the tips of the toes. This bones that give our body solidity and structure. Including within this, we can just take this as a shorthand for all the solid elements of the body, all the way that solidity is present in the body. And this earth element made up of the same earth element as the earth on which we're sitting, and as each other's breathing bodies. Same earth element that's found in the trees, the other living beings and the vegetation around us, and in the earth beneath us. And the other planets circling the sun, and out through the galaxies beyond us, this same quality of solidity. So just allowing the earth element that is your body to rest on the earth element, in the earth element. You might imagine yourself becoming like grains of sand that just rest, fall into place. The gentle movement of the breath just allows the sand to come to rest in place. Resting into your earthiness. Supported and held by the earthiness around you. So continuing with this in your own way for a few minutes. So as we feel our way into this contact with the earth, feel the footprint of our body, the weightiness of our body, Maybe that there's a sense of our center of gravity dropping lower. We find ourselves sitting or resting mountain-like with a really stable base. And just like a mountain sits through different storms and different weather patterns, so too this heart-mind can sit steady through the different weather patterns of life that blow upon it. Or at least for the course of this meditation. So if we were to allow the heart-mind to become as spacious as the vast earth, different thoughts, different feelings, different sense contacts, sounds come and go in this vast, spacious mind. That the mind takes on some of this quality of unshakability, of steadiness, of steadfastness. It's said that when we frequently give our attention to something, that thing starts to flavor the heart and mind. If we give our attention to these qualities of steadiness and spaciousness, this non-reactive earthiness, does that support us in finding a little bit more equanimity, a little bit more balance? So again, playing with this in your own way, and if it becomes too confusing, or if we just find it more helpful to stay really with the contact of the body, contact of the body with the ground, with the hands on the lap, the rising, falling of the breath, then staying with what we find most helpful. You can toggle between the two. What's happening in the mind, what's happening in the body. Playfully playfully, with curiosity, with gentleness. You might notice that experience is not all one thing. So there might be ways or aspects of experience in which we feel really quite steady. And then other aspects of experience that feel more wobbly. And can we offer some of the steadiness to our wobbliness? Acknowledging that as human beings we have both. Can we learn something from this attention to the steadiness? So if there's some agitation or restlessness or doubt, can we also feel that firm connection with the earth, the steady rhythm of the breath? The solidity of this body, of the earth breathing through us. And in the last few minutes of this practice, is there any aspects of these qualities of earthiness that you might really want to keep in mind as we prepare to re-engage with the activities of our day? Or that you might want to bring a little more of in the way that you meet the world. Groundedness or uprightness. Steadiness or reliability. Determination. See if you can sense just for these last couple of minutes yourself really inhabiting some of these qualities. So if the body, the mind, body, heart and mind somehow become one. Oh. Thank you, everybody, for sharing that practice. And yeah, just curious to know whether you have any comments or questions. Let me see in the chat down here. Okay, so if you do have any questions coming to mind, you're welcome to raise your hand or type them into the chat. So one of the things that I find with these elements that I didn't really emphasize earlier is how, of course, life is an interplay of all of them. So we're isolating them for the purposes of just to have a little bit of a theme or clarity, but of course all these elements are intermingling, and so there's a way of, perhaps if we're entirely focused on the earth element, we find things are getting kind of, we have a sense of heaviness to what we're doing, then to mingle in some of the lightness of the air element, for example, is really a nice thing to do. Okay, some questions. Let me see. Scooping up. So question from Susanna. Hi, Susanna. How these relate to the 5 elements of Qigong. Yeah, there's a lot of similarity. Obviously, the earth. So the 5 elements in Qigong are earth, water, fire, metal, and wood, which is a different set of elements. So wood is a whole aspect of life that's not really, that it doesn't really map on. It just doesn't feature in the Pali 5 elements. Metal is, again, very difficult to comprehend, but I would say metal is most closely associated with the wind element because of the connection with breath. So wind, air, at least in the way I've taught it. Yeah. So I'd like to come on to Caroline's question, and I think this is a real really common question, or I don't say common, a question that arises a lot for us. The difficulty of imagining the earth as something very stable, imperturbable, and unaffected by what people pour upon it or do to it. And obviously what was had in mind with these teachings is not really contemplating earth in the sense of Gaia and our ecosystem and the way that our activities impact and damage the ecosystem. I'm sorry, it's difficult because the questions move. Okay, here. Yeah, that the earth is reacting with fire and flood. So, this is where actually taking an even vaster perspective, I think, is helpful if we want to tap into this sense of the infinite and the vast characteristic of earth and solidity and stability. To think that, whatever we humans are doing, the earth is going to continue. It's just not necessarily going to continue in the ways that we know it or wish it to be. But I'm thinking of you know, when we start thinking of of planets and galaxies and life continuing, that this element, the stardust, the quality of solidity, this is something that is much vaster in time and scale than what happens to planet Earth. But I certainly am not proposing that we use these practices to kind of ignore or desensitize ourselves to what's going on. But actually, there's a way in which cultivating equanimity and stability is essential for responding to some of this. Yeah. So, yeah, if this contemplation doesn't work, we park it and we go for another. So. So just checking out the comments. Okay, so Miller was asking for the main or preferred sutta references for the 5 elements. So one is the Satipatthana Sutta, which is in the middle length discourses of the Buddha. Yes, so I think it's, I should know what number it is. I think it's Majjhima Nikaya, the middle length discourse is number 10. And the discourse to Rahula, where he says, let your meditation be like the earth, is a number 62. So these are in the middle length discourses. Whichever one is the Satipatthana Sutta, discourses on the foundations of mindfulness. You could Google that and you'll find the reference easily. And the other one is number 62, Advice to Rahula. And yes, Caroline, that's a beautiful reflection. Yes, the earth like us wobbles and is stable. This time passes so quickly. So I hope, because tomorrow there's less need for introduction and we can take it in a more leisurely fashion. So thank you all so much for meditating together, for your support for one another through this practice. And I wish you all a very good day and see you tomorrow morning, I hope. Thank you so much.